All right, ladies and gents, welcome back. It is Money Monday on the 13th of September here, 2021. No trades for me on the day, just watching. I think that's doing me a lot of good and aspects outside of my trading as well, too, that I'm taking care of, I think are establishing better footholds for me going forward. So it's good to see in that regard. I think there's plenty of opportunities out there that I was identifying and watching with a keen eye, but nothing that extremely wanted to make me pull the trigger as of today. SPY intraday, we had a little bit of a down day, but still showing we're up 0.25% from the close from last Friday. Noted a little bit of this is a daily here, looking like a little bit of a roller here on the kind of 5 minute or even 15 minute. You can kind of see a little bit of a trend here that we're developing of not only this little downtrend, but showing a little bit of a weakness in market hours at least, and then pre-markets we're seeing some nice little pull ups. I guess the opposite of pullbacks, pull ups, and then just hard sell off. Especially today to or Friday, that would be a little bit of a pull up, just hard little sell off hard in the afternoon as well to this day, which was Thursday. A little bit of a reclaim and push to the upside in the morning, but then just sell off. And so market hours, and I think that's just been a normal. I forget when and where I saw that graph and charts comparing all of after hours and pre-market price action of the SPY of the S&P 500 versus actual market hours. And if you traded only market hours on the S&P 500, you would be over the existence of the S&P 500, you'd be down like 5% or something versus trading it after hours where you'd be up like thousands of percent, something ridiculous like that. I don't know the exact numbers. I'm pulling those out of my butt, but I think that's very true of the manipulation or anything that can go on after hours and pre-market versus what actually happens in market hours. And of course, whatever the actual trading of the market, the SPY, the NASDAQ is, I mean, it's just the trading back and forth of the big hands, right? It's not like any consumer or retail trader is pushing the stock market or the S&P 500 or the Qs. But just interesting little note here that I found interesting, at least. Other market internals on the day. NASDAQ, decent little dollar volume. We're 20 minutes after the close of the market, which is good to see. We're over 200 billion at least as of right now, especially too in the NASDAQ. Nice to see $270 billion volume. OTC markets 2.1 billion total dollar volume on the day. Again, no trades for me. Watchlist coming in, keeping an eye on CEI. Didn't necessarily look at this one coming in as a first green day short because it's still in this just kind of crazy manipulated run up with volume. That would have been picking tops for me to try and say when to get short. I think Mark Kirk had a great short on this one, right in this little high day failure breakout here, getting short in this candle, which was not the greatest volume shoved down, but that was a good opportunity there. That good percentage move opportunity to the downside that I wasn't even really aware of or looked at for that type of play. And this one, of course, it's now short sale restricted as well too for the 10% down from the previous trading day close. But it still just doesn't seem to me like this is the real first red day. Like this wasn't, even looking at the volume chart specifically, it's not like any longs were panicking out today. Just comparing the volume chart, that doesn't equate whatsoever to the type of volume that was creating this run up. So I think that 1.5 level, that hold up $0.50 level of 1.5, I think is going to be key for me. We bounced off of that pretty well today. So if it starts to hold once again, this isn't an incredibly fast mover. But I think this could be what I want to start doing a little bit more in these is start to look at these as more of a swing time frame and expand my horizons to say I think the plays on these types of ones are when it is a bit of a slower market and or even what I'm just trading now is not working, of course, and just, hey, expanding my horizons to say, hey, maybe trading something along this type of paradigm would work a little bit better in that sense. I think that's what I want to open myself up a little bit more to. So if I was to establish an entry looking at like a 1.5 break, I definitely would be wanting to hold that potentially overnight to look for that continuation of a new high of day of this little local run up here for this move. Again, this is just that oil and gas company, American, 25 million floats, no news for this run up, just totally manipulated. They've been playing with shorts, teasing them the whole time. But it's just tough for me to call this that potentially tomorrow it could dump to 1.3, it could break this 1.23 low and just continue this drop off and then fall back to the stupid shaggy price that it used to be trading at. But it could see, I wouldn't call it dead as of yet. I don't feel the probability of it completely dying off yet as greater than if it was to potentially squeeze again or come at least a little bit closer to the 1.5 mark again. maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime this week, but I'll certainly keep an eye on it. Again, didn't trade it today. That was just what I was looking at coming into the market today. BBIG, of course, the former runner, just holding on a prayer, waiting for any type of craziness on this one, but of course we didn't get it. And just, really no trades whatsoever. Hard dump right away in the morning. Not huge percentage moves, not huge volatility coming into this one again. The dollar volume today too, only 500 million, but just really not even close to what it has been doing for the type of volatility we want to be able to trade off of on this former runner, or recent runner, I should say. SGMA was one I was also keyed in onto that I found in my scanner. Not the most awesome price action that I feel attached to, but it is super low float, 3.3 million float. No news catalyst for the run up yesterday that I see here on my scanner. They did have, forgive me, they did have first quarter financial results on the 10th at 11:20. Yeah, so right away here. So this was a first quarter results play. Normally don't play earnings, but this was also a type of a little bit of potential semiconductor. It says electronic manufacturing systems includes printed circuit boards, assemblies, blah, 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 blah. So potentially I thought it maybe could have some further growth. Of course, it didn't show that here back 2 months ago in July, with a continuation of maybe potentially looking at this as a second day play for any squeeze higher, but I like the low float and just like the potential if the volume was to come in that this thing could squeeze higher, but just really not firm or hard committed to it, especially because it was earnings. It's not like this is just a pump with motivation to squeeze shorts or attract in newbies to try and bag hold this, but just get my eye on it. GSAT as well too, keeping my eye on as well. Again, the super high float player that started to run. I forget if it initially ran on any amount of news for the first part of the run up. This was August even. Wow, the 30th. No news I see here on mine for that initial run up. But again, looking for this $3 hold level still kind of looming. If it was going to touch there or reclaim, hold these levels. I talked about this one Friday as well too. What if this thing held a new low or started fading off here at this point and then started to find a base here, 245, somewhere around there, I was going to be totally all in on this one, looking for the squeeze, potentially pre-market today, maybe explosion to the upside after that, because that's just what it's been doing. Rinse and repeat for the past time frame that it's been in this big move to the upside. You get this nice spike, little pullback, basing, spike, consolidation, pullback, basing, spike, basing, and then it was just frustrating to see it. And other people described it different ways too, but for me, this was just a failed. It was like everybody was so excited and they're like, yeah, we're getting this move here, sweet, now push it, it's a Friday, short squeeze in the afternoon. But it just didn't have the legs. It wasn't meant to happen that day, in my opinion. What opinion does that have any amount of weight whatsoever on what it should do, right? But I think that was really the nail in the coffin for me on this one. Of course, it's now short sale restricted as well, so maybe it could get a little bit of squeeze. But I think this failed attempt to continue to repeat that pattern was really the end of this. What was just a crazy run from the get-go with such a high floater for this type of run-up, and just not my favorite type of price action or percentage moves to try and trade anyway too. But piggybacking off of what I said with CEI, these are the types of ones that I think had this one been more of or recognizing that pattern more too of the spike consolidation, the more intra-daily type of pattern, I think I need to widen my time frames a little bit more and start opening myself up to that type of paradigm of the trading mentality versus just pretending that I'm doing that while in reality I'm just actually scalping, which is just totally inefficient and stops me out so many times and messes up my mental framework and what I'm actually looking to do as a trader. So I think just adjusting to that too is very important as well. Big mover on the day, ATER. What percentage move we at? 52% that we closed at, still moving a little bit. Just tapped 19 here in the after hours, now pulling back a little bit. Got a nice, it's tough for me to try and call this one here for any type of play today, other than you get this little double bottom here on the open price during market hours. I've identified this, I drew this wedge pattern here as it was developing before that nice green spike even happened. You get that nice push through with this huge volume candle. Was that the biggest? volume, yeah, biggest volume candle, 1 minute on the day as well too for that push up. Didn't have any further, just had this little tap right above it a few minutes later, but really no strength behind it to continue any more craziness. And again, tried to see this one, was tempted to pull the trigger for a VWAP hole type of trade for how it was failing to really die off, and didn't really factor in potentially holding for any after hours if it did hold above VWAP like it did here. If it does go, start to test that $20 whole level, that's certainly a key emotional level as well for human traders at least. But I was looking for that, VWAP type of trade here, like 17, as we were peaking above this little double top here, 17.2, and then you get this little fake out sell off below here again. Just so choppy, and that's what it's going to continue to grow to be. I think I said that Friday as well too. This is just what it's going to continue to be time and time again. We're out of the days, in a sense, of the clean, pristine, hard level hold of a specific price dollar level. Then you get the curl back up and squeeze the shorts to the upside, versus these types of charts where it's okay, yeah, you can identify that it's holding VWAP even though it really hasn't. It's broken pretty hard a few times beforehand, and it's just really not having the strength to continue in a strong trend right away, versus looking at this on a longer time frame to say, just trading trends, longer trends intraday, piggybacking again off of the CIE thing I talked about and the GSAT type of thing, where it's going to have to play multiple days almost, in a sense, or just being very skillful in your position sizing to say, being ready for the scalp on a large part of your position, but also understanding that the potential for these things to continue multiple days with really nothing else on the market being active and everybody's eyes kind of being glued onto the same type of ponies that are running. I think the potential is there that we get more and more of these, even for a trade for me to start with from the beginning of the day too. We're so far in the run up on this ticker, especially looking at the daily too. It definitely 100% needed a huge volume day like today, which by the way was $3.8 billion volume on the day, just over 1 million trades on this one. It freaking needed that in order to push this type of price action. It's just absolutely ludicrous to think about, but yeah, in no way, shape, or form do I think that happens without that type of volume, without that amount of trades going through on the tape in that sense. So yep, talked about that one. Didn't mention Friday as well too, that I'm taking a few shares of AMC as a swing. I got 2 shares at 49.5, 49.7, something like that too. Held pretty well, pretty much all the market hours on that Friday, and then a little bit of a sell-off that, to me, that was just a fake out. I didn't buy it, that this was, oh, we're selling off, we're fading, oh, we got you. I think that was just a weak attempt to fake out any longs that were looking, that kind of in my past type of mindset thinking, I want the explosion to $70 right now, today, which is ludicrous to try and think about for how this one has been trading. I think potentially if we start to creep back toward those levels, we could get a little bit sketchy once again, and potentially if that starts looming more into October, November timeframe as well too, could get a little spicy in that type of pricing. So that's what I'm holding for, in my position size in dollar amount really isn't an indication of my conviction in that type of trade. It's really just speculative. I'm still learning and still just experimenting with everything, and I want to keep that position size low, but big enough to give me that, that oomph in what the trade actually is. So still sitting green as of right now. I think the trend is holding pretty well. And again, yeah, looking really just trading this strong trend that it's in. I don't have a specific hard set technical level that I'm looking to stop out at, especially, if we're going to break, this right off the bat here, this like 48, whatever, this kind of double top on these days here. If we're pulling back hard underneath that, if we're breaking 45, then I'm definitely going to be pushing my luck for what the probability of any more continuation and an upward attempt would be on that one. So I think at that time frame, if we're getting hard pullbacks, especially below 45, then I think the trade would definitely be over, which is 10% risk level. But I think the probability, the reward on the opposite side is plenty that I'm willing to still be in this trade as of right now still. And of course, it's still looking good as of right now. We'll see what it does in the next few days. And AEHR, I will be shocked if Tui did not play this one again today for how it was holding up. Interested to see how he traded it as well too. Really nice breakout. I didn't think it would have had the legs to continue going in price with the little amount of volume it had today. It's just really nice move to the upside. Just continued to push through this whole morning session. Nice little consolidation here. Fake out a little long here, that pullback, but failed to break that low of 11.5. And a nice move to the upside again too. But then here we are again, just pulling back. It's just so you got to stick around long, but you can't stick around that long. And you got to look for the scalp, but you can't be so super scalpy in a sense too. It's so complicated for me. It's not complicated, but it's super simple, right? You buy it low and you sell it high. Or if you're shorting, it's the opposite, right? But that's what it is in a nutshell. But then here again, it's just a situation of that's what the market is. It's trying to get you so emotional, trying to get you off your feet, trying to get you in the frame of mind that you doubt yourself and you doubt the plans that you've set in place for the trade. It's trying to exploit those plans of the trade too as well. It's continually evolving process as a trader to try and learn and try and trade these markets, and that's the exciting part of it too. So that was AEHR. All I had today, that's what it was. Watch this going in for tomorrow. CYDY, the Gratani ticker, as I like to call it, had a nice little move today. Not crazy volume in dollar volume size. I think we're 6.7 million, 6.1 million on the day. Only 3,000 trades to match that with though as of right now. But yeah, decent little move compared on the daily too. We'll see if it has any continuation power going into tomorrow. Don't really have any hard plans to try and trade that one as of right now. And then AEI, I just wanted to keep my eye on as well. I just took that one off. $38 million volume on the day. Super low float of 3.7 million. It's a real estate digital transformation. It literally lists so many different things here that it does all across the world of United States, Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, South Korea. So want to keep my eye on it. Of course, super low float. Again, not incredibly hard pressed to try and trade it right now or what plan it has. I think it could produce maybe potentially even more. Just spiked to 3 here too, just as I was doing this video. But I want to keep my eye on it as well. Not a huge fan once again of the price action, just for how choppy it is and the levels that we're hitting to. I would rather be in the super crazy volatile. It's the porridge factor, right? It's the Goldilocks mentality of, oh, no, that's too hot. No, that's too cold. And versus with these of, oh, well, that's too slow. Oh, well, that's too choppy. I don't want that one. I'm picking my poison with each and every single one of these. But it's not an A+ for me or what I feel most confident in. But then again, it really doesn't matter in a sense too. I'm still experimenting, still learning, still growing, and still trying to learn if and what and when any type of pattern, any type of chart, price action can and will work, or what I find attraction to as well too. That's where I'm at in my trading journey as well, and I love every single day and every single part of it. So that is all I had. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We'll see if any trades really catch our eye tomorrow, the rest of this week. I'm just going to maintain the sniper mentality, keep firing and what I feel are the strong plays, and maintaining that discipline and what I feel I want to be in growing myself as a trader in a sense too. I just try to stretch out these outros just to feel like I can put that little snippet in the comment section to give it that little break too, in a sense, but it's whatever. I thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys tomorrow.